All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something really profound, a Buddhist concept called bodhicitta. It basically means the enlightened mind. And you know what? We're going to unpack this whole idea using a beautiful, powerful metaphor, the metaphor of four precious jewels. Okay, so here's a quick look at where we're headed. First, we'll walk through what each of these four jewels represents. Then, we'll talk about the one huge obstacle that gets in our way. And we'll wrap things up by figuring out where this incredible power actually comes from. Sound good? Let's go. All right, first up, the jewel of purification. This one is all about the power of an enlightened mind to bring some serious clarity, to cut through all that noise and confusion we all feel sometimes. So the text we're looking at kicks off with this incredible image. Picture this. You have a glass of really murky, dirty water, and you drop the special blue gem into it. And just like that, the water becomes crystal clear. That's exactly what bodhicitta does for our minds. It's the thing that can purify all that mental and emotional sludge. You know, the anger, the confusion, the attachments that just cloud everything up. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A magic gem that cleans water? Come on, that sounds like something out of a fairy tale, right? Well, what's so cool is that the master in this text brings it right down to earth. He points to a real-world example. The seed of the moringa tree. And this is where it gets really interesting. If you take a crushed moringa seed and drop it into that same murky water, something amazing happens. It acts like a natural magnet, clumping all the impurities together so they sink right to the bottom, leaving the water clear. It's a perfect physical mirror for a spiritual process, right? The enlightened mind, just like that seed, can bind to all the negativity and let it settle, leaving behind only what's pure and clear. Okay, let's move on to our second jewel. This one builds on the first. It's not about clearing the water we're in. It's about how to navigate that water without getting pulled under. So the scripture talks about this other mythical gem, the water-stained jewel, and its power is pretty wild. It basically gives you perfect buoyancy. You could walk right into the middle of the ocean and you just wouldn't sink. You wouldn't get harmed or submerged. Now, spiritually, this is a metaphor for navigating what's called the sea of samsara, that endless, often chaotic cycle of life, death, and rebirth we're all swimming in. So that makes a really big question, doesn't it? If this power exists, this ability to stay afloat through all of life's storms and struggles, why is it so hard to find? Why do so many of us feel like we're drowning half the time? Well, this is where we run into a really fundamental conflict inside ourselves. See, the jewel of bodhicitta is what shields us from the very things that cause us to sink. Things like lust, anger, and ignorance. But, and this is the big but, we're often too busy chasing those exact things. We crave sensual pleasures. We get attached to them. So we actually resist the one thing that could save us because we're afraid it'll shield us from the very experiences we think we want. It's like we're trying to stay afloat while grabbing onto the anchor. All right, on to our third jewel. This one offers a totally different kind of protection. We're not talking about water anymore. We're talking about something, well, something far more venomous that's lurking inside our own minds. So check out this metaphor, the dragon jewel. It's this powerful talisman that lets you walk right into a dragon's palace without being harmed by any of the dragons or venomous snakes inside. This is how bodhicitta works too. It protects us from the serpent-like afflictions in our own minds. These aren't literal snakes, of course. There are deep-seated patterns of greed, hatred, and delusion. And the master breaks this venom down into two types. First, you've got what are called delusional afflictions. Think of these as your everyday confused thoughts, your attachments, your aversions, the stuff that's strongest when we're caught up in the world of desire. But then there's a deeper, more subtle poison, fundamental ignorance. This isn't about being unintelligent. It's a profound lack of understanding of how reality actually works. You know, cause and effect, the true nature of things. It's not knowing the why behind it all. Okay, that brings us to the final jewel. And this one is the showstopper. It doesn't just purify or protect or keep us afloat. This one is all about complete and total transcendence. This fourth jewel is compared to the crown jewel of Indra, who's like the king of the gods in this cosmology. And when he puts on this jewel, its brilliance is so intense that it outshines all the other gods and all their treasures. Everything else just pales in comparison. That's the power of bodhicitta. When you have it, all the worldly achievements, all the lesser glories, they just fade into the background. But there's a huge, massive obstacle that stops most of us from ever wearing this crown jewel. And it's not some external force we have to fight. It's something much closer to home. It's our own ego.
The Master really zeroes in on this core human tendency, the need to save face. We just call it pride. But what is this thing, really? What is this face that we work so hard to protect?
He defines it so simply but so powerfully. It's the arrogant mind. Pride isn't just self-confidence, it's this deep-seated arrogance. And in this teaching, it's seen as a core poison, one that ultimately causes us to destroy ourselves. And he uses this brilliant analogy to explain the trap. Pride makes us choose to be the head of a chicken rather than the tail of a phoenix. Think about that. We'd rather be the big boss in a small, unimportant group just so we can look down on others than be a humble follower of someone truly magnificent. But if you choose to be the chicken's head, you're stuck on the ground pecking at dirt. If you choose to be the phoenix's tail, you do absolutely nothing and you get carried effortlessly into the sky. So, okay, we've explored these 4 incredible jewels and we've looked at the obstacle of pride that keeps them out of our reach. So what's the big takeaway here? Where do we actually find them? This is where the Master reveals something absolutely mind-blowing. Our entire world of suffering, it's built on labels. Labels we create. We're convinced that things out there are inherently good or bad, desirable or awful, but they're not. I mean, think about it. Is the taste of a lemon bad, or is it just sour? We're the ones who slap a label on it based on our conditioning. These labels, I love this, I hate that, this is good, that is bad, that's the source of all our trouble. There's this piece of ancient wisdom that just nails it. It says, all things are inherently peaceful, only people stir themselves up. The universe is just doing its thing, totally at peace. We are the ones who create all the chaos, right here in our own minds. And that really leaves us with one final, powerful question to think about. If our suffering doesn't come from the world itself, but from the labels we are constantly sticking on everything, then what kind of world are you creating for yourself right now with your own mind? Because the power to find these jewels isn't out there somewhere, it's right here.